youthful crowd who are keen to know rather than being in a classroom where you're interested in doing an examination at the end of lecture. So it's a difference. The second point is that you said economics is something that you have not been doing. Your area is tech. By the way, I come from sciences. My first specialty was physical sciences, and I wanted to be a chemist. But then I changed my field gradually. I went to a multinational company, and from there I went to public sector. Then I realized that there's something called economics that we ought to know. Everybody ought to know. You said technology. Do you realize the bottom line of technology is economics? Do you realize everything we do in life, everything, I mean, of course, life is what we are, is economics? If economics is not there, either you have to be a total 100% sort of a person who doesn't want anything in return, like some of the gurus we had, or that you're completely in exile, where you don't have to worry about any resources. Now, coming to the subject of economics, to simplify, economics is about managing resources. And we all manage. So that is the definition of economics in a pragmatic way. Economics is the business of everyone. To be a beggar, you need to know economics. To be an engineer, you have to be an economist. To be a politician, you need to know economics. To be a religious person, a clergy, is all economics. Now, different individuals manage economics in different ways. And the human beings, why we are so superior to every other creature in the world, when we all started evolution at a certain point of lifetime, and we were very late entries to the whole evolution's chain, but yet now we are controlling everything. Why? How did we do that? Body-wise, we managed to economize our body. We were monkeys at some point. We were on trees. We came down in the African savannas. Then we realized we had to protect ourselves and stand up, look around. Then we found that, okay, the upper limbs are of little use unless we make a different use of it. So you've got upper limbs, the hands. And the hands got even sophisticated with fingers, nimble fingers. And on top of that, with that, we managed to create a body that gives the most economical creation in the whole animal kingdom. Why? It has the proportions to do various functions in the most efficient manner. And the most important part of us is our brain. And the brain created a system that economized everything we have, and on top of that, got the power to control everything around us. So we became the super creatures of the evolution for some reason. There's an interesting thing that I share with my students, is that we are Neanderthal, we are Homo sapiens. There was a time where there was another branch called Neanderthals. They lost their way. There's a controversy, what happened to them? Then I came across this little piece of paper from the Economist magazine, which I happened to find in a sheet of paper which came as a wrapping paper from something, and it says the extinction of Neanderthal is an economic phenomenon. So the only competition we had was the Neanderthals, and they were also gone. The Homo sapiens now ruling the world. Within Homo sapiens, there are differences. There are so-called super rich countries. There are so-called super poor countries.
Yes.
What makes that difference? Again, economics. How do you manage your resources? There are countries that are resourceful. Take, for example, Nigeria. They are sitting on the 6th largest oil deposit in the world. Look at Venezuela. They probably have the largest oil deposits in the world. Japan literally have nothing.
Yes.
South Korea had the most infertile section of Korea when it was divided. South Korea was way behind us in the 1960s. Singapore was looking at us as the model. Lee Kuan Yew said, I want to make Colombo, Singapore Colombo. How ironical now. We are talking about a crisis when we had all this, but that alone, leave that aside. In general, economics is the most fundamental principle that's driving us. It's also interesting to remember when COVID happened in 2020, economics came to a standstill. That is a wonderful thing to the whole world because economics has ruined so much around us. There were very interesting anecdotes. There was a video which people suddenly wake up and to see in India, hey, we can see the Himalayan, which we never saw for 40 years. I mean, that's amazing. The whole world, as you can see, economics has brought prosperity, but at the same time, it has brought a lot of destruction as well. So economics is not something for the economist. Why? Because everybody is a practical economist. It's a practitioner. But let me also tell you something. Unfortunately, the economics world or economics domain is basically controlled by people like us. We call ourselves economists and make a mess of the whole thing. So that is why it's important to ground economics to the basic, as a basic principle, as a basic way of living to everyone to say, look, think of your economics. And that will make a difference to you. Don't believe in models. There are so many models in economics. In fact, there's a book, there are several books called Why Economists Disagree. So fundamental, they disagree because they are very axiomatic in their thinking. But practical economists will all converge into one single point: how to make my life better, how to progress my life to the next level, how to have my secure lifestyles, how to have my income sustained. Now, these are the fundamental issues we have, whether it is an individual or whether it's a country. So economics is something that cuts across every aspect. Let me also, before I wind up this little narration, is when people manage economics, it's so sad that they manage so badly. Take temples, churches, for example. Look at the amount of wealth they hold. So unproductive. I mean, these things we don't want to discuss, but these are facts. Politicians manage economics so badly, and they are not accountable. Bureaucrats, supposed to be the guardians and the drivers of economics, are unto themselves. Educated, use economics to create their bargaining power. Businesses are, of course, they are the producers. They are the ones who are driving the economies. But at the same time, it also creates not so level playing fields for individuals. Some people take the best of that, some people take the least of it. So this is the economics that we are up against. But learning economics is most fundamental to everyone, and it's very easy. It's not a rocket science.